So today I'm going to answer the question of, will my OpenTX radio, like the Zorro, get telemetry information from Spektrum receivers, like Spektrum radios do? And the answer is, it's complicated. So I'm going to use an AR637TA, or no, this is just an AR637T. This is a pretty standard Spektrum receiver. It's got a good sensor package on it. Just an E-flite, extra E-flite ESC I had laying around. And what I'm going to do is going to bind it up to this radio. All right, let's go ahead and choose this model. All right, and we're going to bind. Let's go ahead and power it up. Hold the bind button in. Got the flashing light, binding.
Binding. DSMX 22 milliseconds. Telemetry.
Okay.
Bind complete.
So now that we have this, it's going to go ahead and auto-configure the telemetry screens for us. And we're just going to go look at them real quick. So flight log is pretty standard. It's your holds, frame losses, and antenna losses. Altitude, like I said, we have a vario on this one, so it will give us altitude. If we had an RPM sensor on it, we would get that kind of stuff. This receiver has it all available. Even if we don't have the sensors connected to it, it does have available. If we were using a Smart ESC, it would automatically have those kind of RPM, the voltage into the ESC, those kind of things. But this is just a good display of what's available. These last two screens are just AS3X, not really related to telemetry at all. Or gyroscope gives us real live information about how our receiver is sitting. G-forces on the receiver itself, and then vario. So a nice running graph of how high we get, or how low, depending on the pilot, I guess. All right, so you've got a good idea of what they look like on the Spektrum, which they're presented in a nice fashion, organized well. All right, let's go ahead and bind this up to the Radiomaster now. Okay, let's go ahead.
Welcome to EdgeTX. I'm Douglas right home. Let's get some shit in the air.
All right, and this is just a empty model with the receiver set or receiver type already set. DSMX 22 milliseconds. So we just need to bind to this one as well. So power off, power back on, hold the button in, and bind. All right, we are there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to the telemetry screens. All right, so our telemetry values, our sensors are empty. Let's discover new. All right, and here we go. We got 20 different values that came in. If you notice, so we've got standard ones like the RSSI, the fades on antenna A, frame losses, holds, receiver voltage, gyro, altitude, acceleration, and then we get into a bunch of sensors that don't have labels beyond, or they don't have English labels to them, or word labels. They are still not, they haven't been translated yet into legible values in the firmware updates for the multi-protocol module. So there's a chance that they will get updated at some time. Who knows? I'm sure they would appreciate the help on the multi-protocol module project. But you know, it does look like some of these are going to be hard to figure out with the way the values are just randomly coming in and going out. But in general, you can get a good amount of the same information. So, actually, one step further on this, you would go to the next page and you would set up your telemetry screens to display whatever value you want. So, so I could change this one to show me my frame losses, and this one to show me my holds. And then when I went back out to the model, I hit telemetry, it would show me this screen here. So they're there. Are they as pretty? No. Still useful, just not as well maintained, or not as well presented, I should say. Okay, now one thing I did discover last night, and I want to show you, is what happens when I bind it to my Ultrix. My Ultrix plane, it is actually, it's got a Smart ESC in it as well, as well as an AR630. So there's a lot of telemetry information coming through on that. So let's get this out of the way. Okay, so we're going to bind to the Ultrix now. Power it on.
Telemetry recovered.
Okay, so now if I go to my telemetry screens, and you'll notice I don't have any sensors. But if I discover new,
Sensor lost. Sensor lost.
it actually errors out. We can stop that error from popping up if we hit stop discovering new. So if you'll notice, we're at 40 slots, and it seems that might be the hard limit on telemetry sensors for the Radiomaster Zorro. So it does pull in, you know, it does pull in quite a bit more. So we're actually getting our temperatures. Oh, this is another point to take. The temperatures that come in on this, on the ESC temp, it was in Fahrenheit. On the DX9, on the Radiomaster Zorro, it's in centigrade or Celsius. So I'm not used to Celsius. So for me personally, the Fahrenheit is a much easier temperature to reason about. But here we get in like our voltage into our ESC, very handy. But we're hitting up against that 40 slot limit. So that's my answer. Does the Radiomaster Zorro get Spektrum telemetry? Yes, but it's complicated. So you're gonna get the telemetry. You may not be able to get all the telemetry at one time. I believe you may be able to, if you know what sensor you want, you may be able to just use this add new. I don't know. You might have to delete all and then add them one by one, whichever ones you want. You could get rid of these ones that are not labeled correctly, so they don't really do much for you right now. And then, so you're gonna get it. You may not get all of it, and it's probably not gonna be as pretty as the telemetry screens that are on the DX9. So there you go. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching.